Hello, first grade. Welcome to art today. Today for art, we are going to be talking about line. Now, for our lesson today, talking about line and having a project with line, you're going to need a few things. You'll need the Sharpie marker that was in your yellow envelope for the week. It wasn't stuck in any of the folders, it was just stuck in the envelope, so you'll need to grab that out. You are also going to need the 2 sheets of white paper that were sitting in your Thursday folder, 2 pieces of construction paper. Now, today you are going to first be practicing line, and then we're going to have a project that has line in it. So, we have a couple of rules that we need to go over before we get started. First of all, none of us are perfect. We are going to do our very best work, and we are going to understand that we will sometimes make mistakes, and that's okay. Secondly, when we use Sharpie marker, it is extremely important that we realize that these are permanent markers. We do not want to get these on our clothes because it will stain. Okay? Now, you also want to be very careful because you can see that these have a tip on them. We are not going to take it and smash it down on our paper. We're not going to press with it so hard that it presses my marker tip down and wrecks it, because that would make me really sad and then I can't use these again. So when I'm drawing with it, I don't have to go very heavy. I can make whatever shape I want without having to draw very hard. Okay? So keep that in mind today as we're working with our Sharpie. So you'll need the Sharpie marker, you'll need the pieces of paper, and if you'd like to have a pencil to practice your line, you may. I'm going to use this scrap piece of paper today to do my practicing of my line. If you have a scratch piece of paper that you would like to use instead of your construction paper, you may go ahead and grab that. Pause the video if you need to be able to do that. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. Now, when I think about line, what do I think of? Well, if we were in school, Mrs. Friedrichs would be telling you to get into a straight line, right? So if I get into a straight line, I'm thinking about something like this, right? I would have people that are in each of the different spots, all in my straight line. But our line's always straight? No, I was at Kohl's recently and I saw a line that looked something like that. Is that still a line? Yeah, it is. There are still straight parts, and the straight parts are all just in different order. What about this? Have you ever been told to walk straight and you sometimes walk kind of in a curl? I have. Or have you ever seen anyone's hair that's really super curly like this and it almost looks like that on their head? Me too. What about this? Is that line? Yeah. I can have a really, really thick line, and I can have a really, really thin line. I love that some of you are practicing right along with me. I can have lines that are dashed. I can have dots. I can have railroad tracks. Train's going to go on the railroad tracks. I can have lines that are going to be really, really close together. And I could have lines that are really spaced apart. What about this? Is this a line? Does that have line in it? Yes, it does. Do those have lines in them? Yep. And what if I do that? Does that still show line? Yes, it does, you guys. Okay, so remember my rule. We never give up. We do our very best work, and we're going to try our very best to not be frustrated. Now, the project that we're going to do today is going to be one of my favorites. In fact, if we were in school, this is the project we would be doing this week. And Mr. Harvey always thinks I'm crazy for doing this. It's a Sharpie marker project, and it's making turtles. If you've been up on the second floor on the big kid floor, you might have seen these turtles before. It is one of my absolute favorite to see your creativity. And so I can't wait to do that with you today. So you will need your sheet of paper. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my lined paper for now, and I'm going to put my sheet of construction paper sitting in front of me. Okay, now first grade, when I make my turtle today, I'm going to first ask you to watch me, and then you may go ahead and make your own turtle. Now, when I make my turtle, you're going to notice that I'm going to make it big on my paper. If I make a teeny tiny little turtle, I haven't made good use of my space. I want it to be nice and big so that I can see my line. And I know some of you are going to get a little nervous because when I use Sharpie, I can't erase. That's okay. Envision what you want it to look like on your paper and then just go for it. I know that you guys are going to do awesome. So here we go. In order to make our turtle, I first need to make the turtle shell. And my turtle shell is going to be pretty big on my paper, but I'm also going to need a space for the head. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm first going to go ahead and I'm going to make my rounded shell. And you'll notice that my shell is going to take up quite a bit of my paper, isn't it? So after I go ahead and I've made my shell, I'm going to go ahead and make the head and neck of my turtle. Now, you may choose to not make a little bit of a neck, but I always like to have a little neck because my turtle in real life would have a neck that sticks out. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the face. Now, you can see already, if you're paying close attention, Mrs. Friedrichs got really close to the line. Remember, since this is Sharpie marker, it would be a good idea to put something underneath this so that you don't get marker on your table. Okay? So now we have our shell, we have the neck, and we have the head. Let's go ahead and give our turtle an eye. You could choose whatever kind of eye you want. Let me go ahead and grab a different sheet of paper so you can see other options for eyes. Okay, you could choose to make an eye from your head that looks something like this. Okay, you could choose to make an eye that is circular. You could choose to make an eye maybe that started the same way as mine, but maybe it's a girl and you want to give her, you want to make sure that she has some eyelashes. Okay, you could make a boy one that just has an eyeball and has eyelids. Okay, you could put the eyeball wherever you want to put the eyeball. Okay, I could put it here. I could make it over to the side. It's all up to you. See, our possibilities are endless. Okay, back to our turtle. I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to make my turtle smile. Okay, as you can see, I'm not pressing very hard with my marker. My marker should last me without any problems here. So I have my shell, that was first. Then I made my neck and my head, and then I went ahead and I gave my turtle an eye because it's a side view, so that's why you don't have both eyes. I gave him eyelids and I gave him a little smile. Now, next I'm going to need the under part of my turtle. So I'm going to go from this point here to this point over here, and I'm going to make little swoops. Okay? When I'm done with my little swoops, I'm going to give my turtle 2 legs. The first leg is going to go in the back, and you'll notice how I curved my legs to the back. My other leg, I'm going to curve out toward the front. I like to give mine a little curve. Let me slide this over so you can see that. I like to give them a little bit of curve. Once you've done that, you're going to go ahead from the inside of the one leg to the inside of the other, and you're going to make the undershell. Okay? Then, if you would like to give your turtle a tail, you may give your turtle a tail. Now, first grade is going to come the fun. Are you ready? We need to design the shell. We're going to design the shell. Now, if you looked at a turtle for real, you would notice that God made this turtle with a very, very hard shell, and it does actually have sections. So what we're going to do is we're going to make these big sections. You'll see that I'm connecting it from one to the other. My sections are not small because I want to be able to make my designs. Okay, now first grade, I want to quickly show you what not to do. Do not make your teeny tiny turtle or a teeny tiny shell and think that you should go like this and have these itty bitty tiny sections. Because guess what? When you do that, you're not going to have room to do any of your design. Do not do that. Okay? Instead, break it up into big pieces because now we get to have some fun. Now you're going to think about the different kinds of line that you have in your brain, and you are going to go ahead and fill that up in your turtle shell space. So watch. I am going to make my first shell over here with squiggly lines. Okay, now I'm not going to do all of my shell spaces with squiggly lines. So what else could I do? Well, I know that I can have zigzag lines, I can have railroad tracks, straight line, diagonal line, dots. So for this one up here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to make straight lines. And you can see that they're kind of on the thicker end, but I'm not going to press super hard. Okay, next I want to go ahead and I would like to make some circles. And when you make your circles, you know you can make them whatever size that you want. I'm going to go ahead and make some circles. They don't even have to be the same size in here. Okay? So you can see that I'm making some a little bit bigger, some a little bit smaller. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead right here and I'm going to make some lines that are going to be spaced out a little bit more. And now I'm going to add some dashes in them. Okay, this time over here, I'm going to make some zigzags. Everything's zigzags are going to look a little bit different, aren't they? Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and make some dots in one. If you decide to make dots, please make sure that you are not pressing hard. You just have to barely touch your marker to your paper. You can fill it in with as many dots as you want. Okay. Over here, let's go ahead and make our railroad tracks. Or we could call it our cross hatching. Okay. Wow, look at how great this turtle is looking. Maybe over here, I'm going to make some kind of weird design lines. Okay, then why don't I go ahead, I didn't do the curly Q yet. I'm going to go ahead and make my curly line. You can make that as curly as you want if you choose to do that one. Okay, and I'm going to make mine look like that. Now you might say, wow, your turtle looks like it's almost done, and you're right, it is. One last step, if you want, you can go ahead and you can design the inner shell, the bottom shell, you call it. A lot of times I actually choose to put little dots down here. I'm feeling the love from all of you this week though, with all the hard work that you put in and being on those Zoom calls and working so hard. So I'm going to go ahead and my heart is just feeling that I should put hearts here tonight. So today we're going to have hearts. You could have as many as you want. You don't have to do this either. So if you decide that you don't want to have your shell down here filled in at all with anything, you don't have to. Okay? The last thing that you could do if you wanted to, I don't usually prefer this on my turtle, but you could also give him a couple or her a couple of claws. Okay? You're not designing anything else around your turtle. You're not giving them any kind of color. This is simply a black and white picture. It's meant to be that way. Okay? So now is going to be your chance to practice and to do your work. Remember, if you did not use your first sheet like I had done, if you did not use your first sheet to practice, then you have 2 full sheets. So if you make a mistake, go ahead, start over. But you don't have more than 2 sheets, and I want your final done on one of these pieces of paper.